To the Bleep Bulimia podcast with guest Raj, who is the inventor of 3-3 insomnia hack. Hi everyone, I am Lorianne. I am the host of Bleep Bulimia, and today I have Raj Khedun with me, and he is an avid well-being and transformation coach, but he's also the inventor of the 3-3 insomnia hack, which I'm really looking forward to hearing because I could use that. So thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Lorianne. I think it's going to be a fascinating conversation, free-flowing, a lot of fun, and feel free to back off to ask any questions. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I'm curious. So is it your sleeping patterns that caused you to look into this, or what was the inspiration for you?
Well, to tell you the inspiration for this, I had to take you back to a little backstory, like a Genesis backstory, which is kind of fun because it helps people lock into their childhood dreams, and that's where it all started for me. So what happens is I'm 3 years old and my mother takes me to the nursery or kindergarten in London, where I was born, where I live. And we get enrolled, we look at the playground, we look at the classrooms, and then we end up in the library. And the first two books I pick off the library bookshelf in this life was one about dinosaurs and about planets, right? For whatever reason, the Thomas the Tank Engine and the Mr. Happy, Mr. Sad books, I didn't touch those. I just took these two. And for whatever reason, Lorianne, the images of these books remain so deeply etched in my memory. I can remember it as if it's yesterday.
Wow.
And they guided me more than my entire school education ever did, which is odd, which is bizarre. But then later, as I progressed and evolved myself, I realized why. And it was just a strange, surreal, sublime thing where you come back to yourself and you realize, oh, that's what I should have been doing all along, right? So just to kind of dial it in a little bit, why dinosaurs, why planets? Dinosaurs, because I was fascinated by evolution. The evolution of a creature from being a crocodile to becoming a dolphin or an elephant or a giraffe, more sentient and more communicative and more cooperative. Because as you go up higher up the chain, the animals become more synchronized, more harmonious, more intelligent, more cooperative. And I thought, what about humans, though? A lot of them, they don't cooperate. They conflict, they fight about silly things. And they forget the bigger purpose sometimes because of their own egos and their own opinions get in the way. And I thought to myself, can a human evolve themselves by their free choice then? And the answer is, of course, yes. So that was the animals or dinosaurs idea. With planets, I was wondering, we have beautiful planets out there. We have Jupiter, we have Saturn with things around it. We have Mercury, we have Venus, which looks like a star at night, beautiful. We have Mars. And I was wondering, what do these planets actually do? And what is their impact on human beings? Right? So if you go on YouTube, you can look up Mars on the NASA videos from on Mars with the robots looking around there. And you'll see the sky is red, the ground is red, rocky red, but there's no water, there's no plants, and there's no dinosaur bones or any bones of any kind. And I'm thinking, for 4.5 billion years, was it always empty? Why is it an empty planet there? Whereas next to it, Earth is full of life. 8 billion humans, all the species of animals known and unknown, Amazon jungle with all crazy different colored frogs and spiders and all kind of crazy things. You can't get away from life on Earth. But Mars, what's going on? This doesn't make any sense to me. So these were the things that were boggling my little brain as a 3-year-old, if that makes sense.
Well, that's pretty intelligent for a 3-year-old to think that way, but yes, it does make sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so growing up, I went through the normal school system. To be honest, it didn't much for me because it didn't really stimulate my curiosity, my imagination. It was very boring to study school books and just revise for exams. That didn't do anything for me. But nevertheless, I was still into fitness and sports and anatomy and trying different types of exercises and trying to figure out how the body works in my own way. And at 18, I was pretty obnoxious. I was quite rude. I was arrogant because I was materialistic. Being born in London, I had everything handed to me. Like, I didn't have to work hard for anything. I had everything handed to me. So I took it all for granted, right? And I thought, we're superior, we have everything. My mother, who's a bit open-minded, she decides to go to India. And then she suggests to me, you're quite curious, right? Why don't you come along? I said, okay, come on, right? I'm curious, right? I'm an Indiana Jones kind of guy. Let me have a look, right, at this. So I go there thinking that, oh, it's full of poor people and it's nothing, and it's just nonsense. But I go there and my arrogance took a slap. Like my obnoxious, rude T-self got the biggest wake-up call ever. Yeah, because I met there in India an Avatar, right? And Avatar, like you've seen James Cameron Avatar, brought this concept to the big screen for millions of people globally. Also, Netflix Avatar Last Airbender is on with all the shape-shifting of the elements of earth, fire, wind, air. I thought all this was nonsense to my Avatar. And when I go to India, I meet a real-life Avatar, which means a power incarnate into a human being. A certain power of some great inspired nature incarnated into a human. And I met one, and he knew everything about me. He knew why I picked up his books as a 3-year-old, why I'm looking at dinosaurs and planets. He knew everything.
Wow.
And yeah, and he told me that he's the one who brought me here. And I'm thinking as an obnoxious teenager that, oh, I'm just curious and I'm going to go analyze India and these yogis and avatars. No, son, I'm the one that brought you here. I know what you know because you did in your past life. Bobby, no. And he's, yes, son, you don't know anything. You don't know where you came from. You don't know what you're doing here on Earth. You don't know what happens when you die. You don't know how this planet was made. Face it, son, you don't know anything. And what is going on, right? And then the main core message he had for me was this: you need to be humble.
Mm-hmm.
You need to listen, you need to learn, and you need to listen. They say in the Bible, faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing. Yeah. So you need to listen to the voice within. And that's what he told me. On the one hand, I was hysterical because he completely smashed my ego up. As an 18-year-old, I thought I knew a lot. Yeah, coming from a materialistic culture that you school and you think you know something. No, son, you don't. So I had to face that, and I went monk mode for 10 years.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. From that point, I went into, well, from 20 to 30, I went into monk mode, and I studied all the spiritual literature of Buddhism, Vedanta, Kabbalah, Christianity, Islam, everything. And then I realized that key thing that all humans are missing is the power of the breath. The power of the breath. People tell you in school that it's oxygen and it's just air and a bit of nitrogen, a bit of, helium, whatever. That doesn't mean anything to you. Why do you care about that? But what the breath really is, what air really is light, electricity, and magnetism. Yep. Light, electricity, and magnetism. And this is flowing through your breath 24/7. Every single breath you took, since you started as a baby, you took a breath. You'll take a breath as the last thing you do when you die.
Sure.
Right? This breath is not air. It's not oxygen. That's a part of it. But what's important to us as living, breathing, soul, spiritual, mental powerhouses is light, electricity, and magnetism. So when I had that realization, I started to practice breathing methods intensively for years. Then I realized that the brain can channel channel electromagnetic energy through breath, what you do all the time, and create huge shifts in your evolution, expansion of consciousness, expansion of energy. You can overcome disease. I've not been sick for 23 years.
Right.
I've not taken medicine for 23 years. I've not seen a doctor for 23 years. I've not had an X-ray, an ultrasound, or an MRI for 23 years. Yeah, all because of this air that we take for granted. It's free.
I have a question for you, though. Seeing as you're speaking about breathing and air, which is something that I find fascinating because at work, I sit under a fan. And whenever I go up to my office, so I do a lot. I move around a lot. I, deliver cars, so I'm outside a lot. I sit at reception when I'm not needing to be at my desk. But when I go up to my desk, I start yawning like crazy. Yawn, yawn, yawn. And I'm not tired. Okay, so yes, I said sometimes I'm sleep deprived. But even if I'm not sleep deprived, yawn, 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 till I'm like, my eyes are going. So I did the chat GPT. Sorry, I did.
Yeah.
This isn't normal. Like I'm up in a normal area. And apparently because I'm underneath the AC, that breath, like when you start yawning, it actually regulates the temperature of your brain. And I thought, whoa, that makes sense. So there's the sound. The sound can be caused by it as well. The lighting can be caused by it as well. But definitely, I notice when the air starts to blow harder, that's when it starts to happen. And I'm going, why am I yawning so much? I'm not tired. So talking about breath, isn't that interesting though? And it's not oxygen. It's not about the oxygen. It's about your brain is regulating its temperature. Like, whoa. So this is really interesting to talk about what you're saying, how the brain can actually control, regulate. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what people fail to realize is that the breath is incredibly intelligent.
Yes.
It's incredibly important because it can help when I help my clients overcome disease. And they're like, but I went to the doctor for 10 years and I took all these meds and didn't do anything. And I said, yeah, you didn't use electromagnetism from air, from the breath through your brain. You didn't unlock that power. That's why you didn't get better. Why didn't the doctor tell me this? I said, look, they don't specialize in this. A big pharmaceutical industry, they have a vested interest to keep you sick.
Yeah.
Right? They don't like people like us. But they can't make any money off it. Right? Well, that's my mission, though, in my life, since meeting the Avatar. He said to me, you need to help as many people as possible understand the truth of their electromagnetic nature. They can't die in ignorance of this. It's not right. Right? And he also says God is not happy when his children die. And he said, oh, I had a terrible experience on earth. That was horrible. He's not happy about it. He's not happy about it.
No.
He's not. I hear this all the time in my ear. So what I did, I formulated an easy technique that's so easy. You've got kids as young as 5 and seniors as up to 85 doing this method. It's easy, it's predictable, it's gentle, it's soft, it's rhythmical. It decreases stress and anxiety by 50 to 60% in 3 minutes or less.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and there's no drugs, there's no side effects, there's no doctors required, no psychiatric evaluations. When people apply it to sleep and insomnia, they start to fall asleep within 30 to 90 seconds.
Oh.
And they'll sleep for 6 hours straight. If they wake up at night, just do it again while they're lying in bed for another 30 seconds, fall straight back to sleep again.
Which is perfect, because I know a lot of people who complain about the fact that they wake up in the middle of the night, they can't get back to sleep again. So there's there's the answer to it.
And they pick up their phone, their smartphone, start scrolling on TikTok and start buying stuff.
Right. And then they wake up the next morning going, oh my goodness, in that blurry of I woke up in the middle of the night. I was so tired that I spent all this money. Oh gosh. Cancel,
Exactly.
too late.
exactly,
I'm talking like I
exactly.
know
And
what
since,
that experience is all about.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And since Laurie, since Lorianne, since you talked about the AC
Yeah.
situation with your yawning,
Mm.
right? The science. Do you like the science aspect as well?
Yes.
Like, yeah. So when we take in this air or electromagnetism through the breath and channel it through the brain in the way that the 3-3 does so easily, you unlock endorphins, which are pain relieving chemicals that the body has anyway. You already have it.
Yeah.
Also unlocks dopamine and serotonin, which are feel good, happy hormones, which you already have.
Yeah.
Also releases what's called anandamide. A lot of people haven't heard of anandamide. Anandamide comes from the Sanskrit word bliss, happiness, joy. So all humans have a bliss molecule in their brain. So why would human beings have a bliss molecule in their brain if they were not designed to be happy?
True.
Right? So that tells you the very nature of a human is to be happy, is to be joyful, is to be peaceful. It's your very nature. And that's not going to change no matter what a politician says, no matter what any pharmaceutical company says, no matter what your mum and dad say. It doesn't matter. This is nature. And the sooner you align yourself to that, the better off you're going to be. You connect directly to your source power and happy days. You don't have to worry about anything, right? So a lot of people talk about the biggest nerve today in physiology, in stress management, in psychology, and so on. The vagus nerve is very important for rest, digest, on the parasympathetic nervous system, recovering from trauma, surgery, injury, all those kinds of things, deep sleep as well.
Mm.
If you're always in, that's the parasympathetic side of your nervous system. If you're always in the sympathetic nervous side, sympathetic nervous system side, you're in stress, cortisol, fear, adrenaline, go, anxiety. It's endless, that loop. It's endless. Then you start taking meds, you start getting inflammation, you start getting pain in your body, arthritis, indigestion, digestive problems, heart problems, thyroid problems. It's endless. And simply because people don't know how to move into the parasympathetic nervous system for at least 1 to 2 hours a day for self-care routine like meditation, yoga, reading, relaxing, enjoying music, and doing calm, gentle, nourishing things. They're not taught in the school system or in society that is imperative for a human. Absolutely. If you miss that, even for a day, you're going to be off track, you're going to be cranky, you're going to be irritable, you're not going to get on well with others, because everyone needs time to rest and digest and relax and reset. Only then can you go out back in the world and mix with your family, your kids, society at large. Without that inner peace, that inner anchoring, resetting yourself, you're never going to be at your optimum.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too
So
many people,
if you like,
I would think anybody, but I think there's a bigger need for that for people who are in positions of where you're speaking to somebody like you're talking to people all day. You're constantly with people, and you're also then coming home and caretaking somebody or whatever the case. That I always take time for myself, although I'm interested in your breathing thing because that's really big. But and I have 3 dogs, right? So it's like I come home and it's like I've spoken to people all day pretty much, and then I come home and then I also have to take I don't have to. My mom's pretty good; she's 90, but I do feed her dogs, and then I make sure she's got her pills, and I make sure I go see her. So there's that extra there, and then I got my 3 dogs. So there's times where I just go outside, I close the door, I go, no dogs, no cats, no nothing, just me, and I will take the time with just be no work, no nothing. I just sit outside and I just breathe and just that's it.
yeah,
And
that's it.
I need
Exactly.
that. But there's so many people who don't realize the importance of doing that. And I'm looking forward, like I said, to your 3-3 because that's going to enhance my experience of my time alone, I would imagine. And particularly also going to bed with all these things that are buzzing through your head. What's going on tomorrow? Blah, 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 blah. Am I ready for it? Blah, 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 right? So, yeah,
I,
those little
I,
voices
I
that don't
will
shut up.
definitely, exactly. I'm going to walk you through it in a sec.
Perfect.
And I think it's kind of interesting. What I also want to say is this. We're working with a lot of counselors and educators in the ADHD because there's a lot of children who are suffering with ADHD.
A lot of
In the
adults.
UK as well, but America, yeah, America lots.
They're just finding
So,
out now.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A lot are going undiagnosed because it takes so long to see a specialist and so on and so on. So all these codes, and a lot of people just frustrated with having to wait 5 years proper evaluation from a psychiatrist. So they just go looking for holistic, natural remedies, anything to kind of resolve it by themselves. So you mentioned, the mental element, the restlessness. I'll tell you what's also fascinating. When you do breathing methods like the 3-3, you not only take care of all of that, your sleep, mental chatter, all those things, you also expand the brain cells.
Oh.
You've got 27 billion brain cells, and most of them are sleeping. Right? You only use 10% of your brain potential.
Heard that.
Right? Now, when you do this thing, it starts to open up like the brain cells like little light bulbs. When you start to put breath into them, they start to brighten up, expand, enlarge, like little gyrators, like generators that start opening up like this. And then you start to see things within your own mind, your own brain. And you're thinking, where was all this intelligence all along? It was always there, but it was just in the shade. It was in the dark. Never knew how to bring light in there. So for all intents and purposes, you thought what you were seeing was your reality, when in fact, you're only in a tiny percent. Right? Tiny. Because the school system doesn't teach you this. They don't want you to know how powerful you are. Right? We already have infinite potential. It's already ours. It's a question of knowing how to tap into it, to use it, and to live through it like I do. So anyway, I'm going to walk you through it now so you can see for yourself.
Good.
All right, let's do this. So do you do, what kind of breathing do you normally do, Lorian?
Usually it's the breathe in and then hold and then the releasing. I've had a few that I've looked at. There's like the fingers going on with it too, like finger movements. It all depends on how, but definitely, um, sitting up straight. And then I also, like this always gets really stressed out, right? Yeah. Upper,
Right.
yeah. So that's a
So,
lot of what I try. And when I'm taking a breath, it's just relaxing that and the knots in my stomach because I do deal with anxiety. And sometimes I don't even know what I'm anxious about, but my stomach will knot up. And then I have to just take in, breathe
relax.
out. So, but that's like the basic techniques that we're taught for breathing, right?
Okay.
To
Okay.
relax. Yeah.
Have you heard Wim Hof?
Mm, no.
No. The Iceman. He's very famous for bringing rapid breathing into the world. But his method is quite long and it's quite vigorous. So it doesn't suit everyone.
No, and I
But
and I usually
our,
do them in short periods. Yeah. Like,
yeah. How long? Like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
yeah,
What
about that
you say?
minute, 2 minutes. I'll do them
Okay.
regularly on a bad day where I'm super anxious about I don't know what. That's the crazy thing. A lot of times I don't know why I'm anxious. That's the worst part. Because I love my
Mm.
life. I love what I'm doing. I love everything. So I'm not quite sure what I'm anxious about. Um,
Yeah.
but so that's when I'll take it. The minute I start to feel that tenseness is just like too much, I have to stop and I have to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll walk you through this one.
Okay.
So first, what we do, Lorian, we check the nostril flow first. So we block the right one and breathe in and out a few times of the left nostril. Switch over. If you can tell me roughly, are they equal, or is one more open than the other? What would you say?
This one's more open than this one.
Does the left
This
one's
one I
more
have
open? Would you say
TMJ on. I've got TMJ. So and I've got
have you?
and I've got tinnitus on
Okay.
this one. So yes, definitely that this whole part is yeah.
How long for? How long have you had that?
Since I was 22.
Okay. So best part of what?
Tinnitus
2
was
decades?
6, but my TMJ was since I was 22, but then my tinnitus started when I was 36. Yeah. And
The
only for 6.
tinnitus, how long? The tinnitus, is that always there, or does it come and go?
It's always there. It's getting worse as you get older. Yeah. Now I put my mother's hearing aid in for fun one day,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes away. I didn't think a hearing aid would help it. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. But just for fun, I tried it because it augments all the sound out there. So it takes away from the sound in your head. That's because it's not the eardrum. It's actually a brain thing. Tinnitus is your brain saying that there's sound there, even if there's no sound there. It's the most incredible thing to research. But there was one of my guests, and he said, yeah, he put he wears a hearing aid 12 hours a day, but he can only wear it for so much, and then it's nice. And he was born with it. He was born with tinnitus, whereas I didn't get it till later on. Significant?
No. Okay. It's okay. It was fairly even anyway to start with, so that's fine.
Yeah, definitely. So it'd be hard to even tell, but pretty same.
Yeah. Okay. And you said the interesting thing you said at the start is that you could see how this could help you fall asleep because you were feeling like you could just literally drift off. Right. So now you get a sense of how when we help people with insomnia or sleeping disorders, they do this method often, in a minute or 2 minutes, they start to drift off, and that's it. So you can see how that works.
So my thing is, can I open my eyes?
Yeah, please go ahead.
To make sure I could.
Yes.
I think so. So in marrying this with, somebody will say, well, why are you, bring this up? And this is like Bleep, midlife bulimia, and also just in general, a story about bulimia. But I found, like I was telling you before the podcast, that my bulimia did cause me to have dysfunctional sleeping patterns. And I don't know if it's the nutrients or whatever. And then remember, I was telling you too that weirdly enough, my dreams were all black and white when I was bulimic, particularly in the latter part of it. And then when I quit my bulimia, they became colorful. But getting sleep now, the thing is that lack of certain nutrients will cause your whole body to become stressed, and I know this for sure. But this, I think, is a really good exercise to before you go to bed. Or even if you're anxious and it's triggering, possibly a binge, to stop and do that. It may not stop the binge. I'm not saying that it'll be, but it could be that it's going to reduce the anxiety enough that you're not going to go to food instead, right? So it's a tool that's worthwhile trying if you're still struggling with bulimia. But definitely before going to bed, I think it's very important to get the right sleep, to get the deep sleep. And I think I was just always like with my bulimia, I didn't get the deep sleep or anything, and that would probably have helped me to do that. I think it's a great tool no matter what. I think in our today's society with all this noise, never mind my tinnitus, there's noise everywhere. Like, and I do not put my phones are not in my room. I keep everything out. Because those are noises that, and even if you quiet it down, sometimes the light will blow up if it's something important. It's like just, yeah, I've learned to just do that. But uh,
Mm, mm, mm,
quiet is important, and I think what you're offering, I think is really important for people in this day and age with tech. I don't know. Our brains are working a lot faster, and minds are going a lot faster. I think in this day and age than they used to. So I mean, we're not just going outside and sitting down with friends on weekends. We're like on our computers still on
mm.
weekends playing games. We're doing like it's like, shh, right?
True, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll also mention that if women, when people also come to us and say, can this help with weight? Because, bulimia is often connected with self-esteem,
Yes.
and the cycle continues with the food relationship, and that can
Yep.
be disastrous for years. So people often ask us, what's a simple, natural way to use this energy that you talk about, Raj, for weight loss? And I'll tell you the secret. It's very interesting. I used to eat 3 meals a now, since I do this, I only eat 1.5 meals a day and I never feel hungry. I never feel hungry. My belly doesn't grow at all because I've substituted food for this finer atmospheric energy, and there are no calories in this,
Yeah.
right? But your immune system gets fed, your nervous system gets fed, and your endocrine system gets fed. So, but you don't feel hungry for food, if that makes sense. So in
Interesting.
terms of helping cravings, yeah, in terms of helping cravings for women to maintain a natural weight or to lose weight naturally without any side effects, if they're coached in this method, it's a lifelong blessing because you can learn to live without food without forcing yourself.
But
Because you
also,
won't hunger pain. Yeah.
I also like always to say, so not just losing weight, but maintaining weight, maintaining a healthy weight. Um, because sometimes I worry about, speaking to bulimia. One of the biggest things and fears was with me was actually quitting and gaining weight, right? And so
Mm.
on. And because I was at an okay weight and that was fine. Luckily for me, somehow I actually lost the weight and became what I've always been at. So like my regulatory weight. So I was a little bit
Mm-hmm.
higher then and it just came down. I didn't try to diet. I don't diet. I hate the word diet. I will not do it. Um, but I know that there's a weight that I'm comfortable with. My body is comfortable with, and that's where my body stayed. It didn't get skinnier, it didn't get bigger. It just stayed where I'm supposed to be at. And I think that bulimics have to understand that that is doable. But I like that your technique will say that if it's going to lower your craving of basically lower your craving of going to the fridge and lower your anxiety or your emotional situations that lead you to go and
To
binge and
eat.
purge, right? So
So,
I think that's very important. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And I think, just to help encourage women, because I'm also a relationships coach for women, been doing that for 15 years.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that. It's another thing that I've been doing for years. And I've studied women's emotions very carefully. And when they get stressed, they comfort eat. They go to the fridge. They start looking for sometimes processed foods. They eat the most unhealthy foods. And the wonderful thing is, when you do this method, you have no hunger pangs. Your belly doesn't grumble for 8 hours, 10 hours, and you don't even think about food.
Wow.
That's not forced. There's nothing forced about it.
That's
So you don't feel guilty. You don't have guilt trips. You don't get into this negative thought emotion cycle. There's none of that. None. So I'd strongly recommend women to either try the method or get coaching on it or something. Try to implement it into your lifestyle.
beautiful. I really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you being here. I know our time is very different because I'm in Canada, you're in the UK. So I do appreciate you making the time to join me. I really do want to ask you, Raj, if you can let people know where to find you. And I know
Yeah,
that you do have the 3-3 program on your website that they can reach out to. So please let them know. It will be in the notes as well,
sure.
but also for our listeners
Mhm.
who are, you know,
Sure.
in the car listening, they can just try and remember that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So it's the 33insomniahack.com, 33insomniahack.com. And there they'll find a lot of information, very easy to digest information, the kind of results we get, lots of testimonials from Oracle, the NHS, Philips Electronics, lots of independent workers in the psychiatric field globally have tried this method. They love it. Educators on ADHD, child educators, caregivers, lots of testimony that you can read. You can reach out to us on WhatsApp, email us, of course, and you can buy the program. It's $97, very, very reasonable cost, and it gives you everything you need to get started. And a lot of people, they love it so much because the quick results start to come in, like, can I use this for my relationships? Can I use it in my other parts of my health? How can I use it for my mind, my concentration, my child's so anxious, and how can I use it for the kids? Can I use it for my husband? All these questions start to come up, and then we can do deeper dive coding if they want that. That's a good first sort of way to open the doorway, the gateway, the portal to get onto this really magical but scientifically proven way to self-regulate. I think it's a really
Perfect. And I
great
will
first
add
step.
this because some people will possibly think it, because we know $97 to start. That is a lifetime commitment, or is it
Yeah,
an
yeah. No, it's basically it's a one-off.
okay?
So once
I
you've
always
got
like to
that,
make sure that because
yeah,
people, we've purchased things and then next thing you know, the year after we get this other bill because we don't know. So I like to be clear with my listeners going, okay, here it is. It's a one time and then you can
it's a
move up
one
from
thing.
there, but that 97 is
Yeah,
yours.
give you everything you need. You can use it for the rest of your life, and you'll be able to wean yourself off a lot of extraneous meds if you stick with it for a month or two, and then get in touch with us. Have a community as well, so we love sharing the results and keeping people encouraged. Yeah,
That's awesome. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Raj, for being with us today.
you're welcome. You're welcome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit me at bleepbulimia.com.